Well, go on, everybody. Lennox here from Simple 123 Trader. This is a outlook for the week of January 30th to February 4th for the futures, currencies, cryptocurrencies, indices, and hope everybody's doing well and are safe. Okay, this is the Simple 123 Trader, and looking at the charts in a way that is a little different from most. I'm always looking for specific 1, 2, 3 formations that form trends, and I will go through the various instruments to show you what I'm seeing setting up for this week. So starting off with the US dollar index, I'm on the weekly time frame, and just to give you an idea of what I'm seeing for the US dollar here, it has had a lot of strength so far going into the last part of the month. And as you can see on the weekly, we've had two very strong up weeks, and we're sort of settling in at a resistance area at this point. And it looks like we should cut through and go up to the next resistance area in the 100 mark. Okay, this might take a while, of course, but let's just see. This is on the weekly. So on the daily, um, it looks pretty strong overall. So we got that push to the upside. We might have a little bit of a hiccup in here. However, we will certainly continue to push as the week unfolds to the upside, because the jitterness in the stock market is probably going to propel more players into the US dollar for safety. So that's my take on US dollar. So if that's the case, then we can look at the euro, which is the exact opposite of the US dollar. And so we would look for the euro to continue to fall. So we've come through this wedge area here at a strong support area. We've cut through that two red bars compared to the two green bars for the US dollar. So we could see continued drop into the 1.05, 1.08, sorry, 1.08, 1.07 area for the euro. That would also hold for the Aussie, similar type of move. We've got a double top, a 1, 2, 3 top, head and shoulders, everything here. We're definitely on the way down, and you can see that that's what's setting up. We'd be looking for further downs in the Aussie back down to this level. We can also look at the Canadian dollar. Let's see if we can find the Canadian dollar. Here it is. That would be going more than likely with the US dollar. So we would probably look for a push. We're on the weekly here. We probably look for a push back to the upside. But you can see that we're kind of in a channel here. So this might take a while to play out. We could, push back up to this area of the channel before the week is out as well. That will go in line with the strength of the US. However, right now, because it's in that channel, and again, looking at, we're inside this very, very tight channel. We could have a little bit of a weakness here first, but we should push back to the upward edge of this triangle. Okay, if we take a look at, let's see, we've looked at the euro, the Canadian, the Japanese yen. That should also usually is going with the US dollar, but in this case, the strength of the US dollar is such that it's pushing the Japanese yen to the downside. So the Japanese yen is weak, and we would look for further weakness in the Japanese yen going forward into this week. That's on the weekly. So on the daily, we'll be looking for continued weakness, and we could even break these lows this week. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing there for Japanese yen. Let's see what else with the British pound should be similar to the euro. We would be looking for continued moves to the downside, and that's what's setting up here. We could break these levels going into this week. If I drop to the daily, we see that we are indeed in a move to the downside. So continued pressure on the GBP versus the US dollar and the move to the downside. All right, so that's a look at those guys. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin on the monthly. Okay, so quite the drop, and I said from last week that we would be looking at low 30s for Bitcoin, and indeed we came down to a low of 32,875, and now we've subsequently bounced. But is it a legitimate bounce, and we're gonna be pushing back to the upside? That's totally possible, but let's take a closer look. Still looks rather weak overall. So I'm kind of seeing any kind of moves to the upside as opportunities to sell into Bitcoin for further drops. And we could see below 30,000 or at least very close to the 30,000 area before this week is over. So any push to the upside, I'm kind of saying sell on Bitcoin at this point. Okay, so weakness in that. So that would hold for the Dash coin. You can see that also is very weak and pushing to the downside. That would hold for Dogecoin more than likely. It's also pushing to the downside. So looking for further weakness in these coins. This is Litecoin. That would be the same. We can see that we still have weakness. So I'm looking for further weakness in these coins going into this week. And this one has quite a ways to go still. We're right at a very critical point right now, but it looks like we're going to slice through to the downside this week. All right, so that's those guys. Let's take a look at the Dow US 30. So quite the run on the Dow, and again, as I was saying from last week, I was looking for. Let me just get rid of that. I was looking for further weakness, and it's looking like that's what's setting up going into this week. We should have some further weakness overall, but could start off with a bang, of course, to the upside. But what I'm seeing here overall, we have broken the trend, and it's looking a little on the weak side overall. But you can see it's a battle right now. It's a battle as it tries to find footing coming back up, but I don't see this lasting very long overall. So that's the daily time frame. I could drop one more time frame just to give you an idea of what I'm seeing overall. So, okay, here we go. This is what I see. We're inside this trench. I think we could get like I say, a push, maybe a little up into this area. But then after that, I think all bets are off and we're heading back down with some red in our faces this week. So maybe we start off with a little push to the upside, but overall for the rest of the week, I think we're heading down in a hurry. Okay, so that's my take on the Dow. Let's see what the S&P 500 looks like. And on the weekly time frame, it too has broken through its that trend line that it has been in, you know, for so long since 2020, since way back in April of 2020, we had this up move, and now we're finally broken through the trend line, and it's not looking so good anymore. So on the daily, again, seeing this setup where we're again inside of a very choppy area. We might see a little push to the upside, but after that, all bets are off and we're heading back down. So I see a lot of blood in the streets, as it were. And again, I'll go to the 4 hour and we can take a closer look at this. Similar to the Dow we just looked at, same kind of setup. We're chopping around in this here, push to the upside. Maybe we might get up to that high, possible. Somewhere in here, we're going to turn around and we're going to be coming back down in a hurry. So that's what I'm seeing overall for the S&P. Let's take a look at the U.S. Technology Group. And see if it's going to give it to me. U.S. Technology, there we go. Okay, I'll go back up to the weekly. It too. So you can see they're all doing a similar thing. So we've got that break of the trend line very dramatically here for the tech, U.S. tech, and it too doing the same type of thing. We're inside a very choppy area. This is on the daily, and again, if I drop to the 4 hour, we can see that we're also in this choppy area. We could see a push back up. Could certainly come back up into this area, but all bets are off after that, and we're heading back down in a big hurry. And lastly, we'll take a look at the US 2000. This is the basically the breadbasket of America, the smaller companies, mid-sized companies. They too, a little bit different chart compared to the others in the sense that we have broken this trend from a long time ago. We went completely sideways up here for almost all of 2021 in essence, very choppy, reached a peak and now are drifting to the downside. So we could see a bounce as well, but then all bets are off and we're heading down. So looking at the daily time frame, again, I'm seeing the same type of pattern where we've come down to this level. We're going to see a little bit of a bounce, but after that, again, all bets are off. Going to the 4-hour, same type of setup. It's not as choppy as you can see as the other ones are. However, we could come back up again into this area, but I think after that, we more than likely will be heading down in a hurry. So putting a trend just to show you what I'm seeing overall, putting a trend line on this move, for example, we could certainly come back up and touch this area, and after that, I think that's it. Okay, so short-term strength, maybe tomorrow, that might be it, and then after that, we're going to be heading down. So something interesting is going to be happening this week to propel this market to the downside. What it is, we're not sure at this point, but we'll see how it plays out. So that's a look at what's setting up for this week. Profitable trading to everyone. Be safe. I'm done now. Thank you.